Welcome to Unwrapped, the B Corp Spotlight series where we ask people from B Corp brands to answer some of the most frequently asked B Corp questions. I'm Katie, your host, and today I'm pleased to welcome Brooke Mullen from Sapahn. It's great to have you here, Brooke.
Thank you. It's so great to be here, Katie. Anything talking about B Corps is a sweet spot for me.
Well, it's the right month to be doing it, isn't it? So today, Brooke, you have very kindly volunteered to answer the question, does B Corp mean anything?
I love this question because it's essentially saying, do human rights, do people matter? And 100%. And does B Corp mean anything? And I think what B Corp has done over the years has just gotten better at raising that standard. And it does matter. It matters significantly in the lives and the communities that we all operate on. And my journey of B Corp and B in human rights started when I was living in Thailand doing my master's in human rights in 2008. And it really opened the door behind really how things are produced, right? So I got to see behind the curtain, which I realized a lot of people in America or in the West don't really get to see. And it also exemplified the power of business and the power of business that has in really protecting humans and humanity. And so I think it's brilliant the way B Corp and B Lab has come together to ensure, like I said, that there's some standard practices and intrinsic ways of how businesses should operate. And that is really, the power is really in the people that make up the business and that make up our communities and that make us, that are kind of our differentiators.
How did your master's in human rights lead you to where you are now then?
Yes. So it's a great question. I had a little small extent at the United Nations also on human trafficking. And at the time, and still to this day, many people are migrating in search of work. And that kind of really intrigued me. Leaving their own communities and villages behind in search of work, in search of a better life. When at the end of the day, a lot of these communities possess in their own communities, their own villages, really incredible businesses. It might be handicrafts, it might be other accessories. Women know how to weave and just how to do some really incredible things with silk. And I kept thinking, well, what if we went to the businesses? What if we created businesses in these rural communities? And not just any business, a business that really hones and honors the people who make it and how it's made. And it's really not a new idea by any means, but to see it done at a small scale, at a beginning scale, I think that at the time, a lot of companies are saying we can't be responsible for our supply chain, who's making our things and how it's being made. But I set off as a naive young 20s, thinking that I could change that, or I could discover and figure out what is that gap. And so I started traveling to all these villages and asking women, what does empowerment look like to them? And the answers that I got was, people wanted agency. People wanted a buy-in into their own system and their own production. And those are just some basic human rights, right? And so we started doing that. We started asking them, okay, what does fair wage mean to you? What is a livable wage? And they started telling us. So at Sapahn, everything from start to finish is what we do is create agency within our whole supply chain. And we ask our artisans, okay, how much do you want to be paid? They tell us, and we honor that. We've been in business now 14 years with these same principles. And really, I think it's to inspire, hopefully, other businesses to go to their people and really ask them, what is empowerment? What does this look like? How can we do this better? There's so many answers within your own supply chain and within the people who make up this beautiful company that you're running. And that's where we started, really was asking those questions and seeing people as part of our whole community.
That's incredible, and the fact that you're 14 years in now, so this isn't something new and something that you're still establishing. You've sort of tried and tested and proven that this works. So, I suppose, how do you feel about what you've been able to prove and where perhaps your competitors sit in the market in terms of the practices that you're choosing to undertake as business as usual?
I'd always admired the bigger brands, the ones we all know. But I thought, gosh, at the end of the day, people want beautiful things, want their beautiful things that they're purchasing to make a beautiful impact. And now consumers know that. that's not the case in a lot of these circumstances. And customers are wanting better for their products and wanting to make that better impact. And so at the end of the day, we want to make it easier for customers to make that choice because of how we do things. And that leads to profitability, and it leads to better business practices and more sustainable practices. And people are willing to get behind that, right? Because it's not just a product for a product. There has a deeper meaning. And we find with customers, they're proud to tell that story, right? They're proud to share how their values and how their shopping habits, it's simple as that, are making a big impact. And so that's something I think our competitors are lagging on, is being able to tell that story and tell not only the story, but really, are they walking the walk? And I think the beautiful thing about, does B Lab mean anything? Does B Corp mean anything? It's this milestone. It's this journey of how can we carry forward? How can we all get better? And I think that's what business does well, right? Business is really to serve our customers and serve this bigger need. And what bigger need that we have today than the things that B Lab and B Corp really talk about and the companies in there? It's the people, it's the planet, it's accountability. And again, it's agency. It's encompassing of human rights.
That's such an incredible answer. Thank you so much, Brooke. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today. And for those of you who are watching and want to find out more about Sapahn, you'll find all the links and the details that you need below. And if you enjoyed this video, go and find the rest of the series. There's lots of questions that we're answering. And if we haven't answered your question, drop us a message and let us know. We've got lots of more B Corps who are ready and willing to answer more questions. And that's it for today. So thank you one last time. Big heartfelt thanks from me to you, Brooke. It's been a real pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Katie.